Here we are sitting at Low Isles opposite Port Douglas, and we anchored the boat in about 13 metres of water. It's a beautiful little island there, but when we got here late afternoon, tide was down and we couldn't get onto the beach, so meow, there you go. But we were the 15th boat to arrive here, and therefore we ended up all at the back. So even though it's only 15 to 20 knots out there, the swell is coming around and all the boats on the outside, including us, are rolling our guts out. It's really a crappy little spot. Anyway, we'll get through the night, and tomorrow we'll hopefully get a better anchorage with less boats. I think the reason it's so crowded here is because it's Friday night, and a lot of boats would have come out from Port Douglas for the night, so we're kind of just go and put up with it, I guess. Oh well. I mean, it could be worse. We could be sitting in traffic, stuck at traffic lights or something. So I guess the worst day at sea is better than the best day at work, right?
Hello!
Look what you're making for us. What's this?
Tonight we are cooking the fish and have vegetable and have sauce.
Oh my god, there's too much there, my love.
Really?
Oh, how I can eat all this.
Oh, you must eat. Now time for it.
So we had an utterly atrocious night here at Low Isles for some green sailors as we headed up the coast.
Good pictures.
Yeah, so the little guide rates this one up to 25 knots, but I think that's really only relevant if you can anchor close in, and of course we weren't able to because we were the 15th boat here yesterday. So we sat on the outside and rolled our guts out until about 2 AM when the tide got low enough that the reef was providing protection. Goodbye to Low Isles, up there in the distance. Didn't think we'd find any wind this morning for sailing, but it looks like we found about maybe 10 or 12 knots. So we've got the rig up. Kate's taking care of everything, she's on watch. And yeah, we've just got a nice little broad reach happening there. Yeah, 3.7 knots. We've got 40 nautical miles to cover today, so we've got a little bit of a longer distance. And pretty much all of it through a no fishing zone. So we won't be catching much fish, if any, today. There might be a time when we go outside that zone, but at the moment I think we're likely to be inside that zone for quite some time. Anyway, we've got sun all day, means I can make battery power, because we used a lot last night on the freezer. Looks like it's going to be a nice day. So we're currently running wing and wing, or butterfly. That's the mainsail out one side, the headsail out the other, running dead downwind in about 10 knots of wind. We're making about 4 and a bit, so it's cosy cruising. Champagne sailing, really. And we're going to do this for about the next 8 hours on the way to Hope Island. At the moment the wind has eased off so much that the tiny little swell that's here is making the boat roll, collapsing the sails. Not enough wind to keep them full. We're still doing 3 odd knots, so, and we can't go all the way to Thursday Island motoring, so we're going to have to persevere. That's Cape Tribulation in the background. I've never seen it before, and I thought it would be, you know, something really spectacular, but it's actually really quite, I wouldn't say boring, but nondescript. It's almost like every other little piece of land that we're passing by here along the coast. There's nothing really about it. It sticks out just a little bit from the surrounding coastline, but not much at all. Anyway, Captain Cook found it important, so he called it Cape Tribulation. There you go. Maybe from a drone it would look better. fine off our starboard, off our port bow now. We have the Hope Islands, Hope Island East and Hope Island West, and we're probably only about 6 miles away. Yeah, 6 miles away from there. They're very low hills, very low islands, and we didn't see them until, you know, probably 8-9 miles out. The really interesting part of history right here, the water that we're currently sailing on, Captain Cook sailed on in his Endeavour back in 1770, and on sighting the Hope Islands in front of us as it was getting late in the day, he decided to head out to sea. So he turned to starboard and headed out away from the islands because he didn't know what, you know, reefs were surrounding them. Anyway, they were sounding the bottom, and it all sounded deep, and he didn't know that the outer reef was out there. So he thought he was standing out into open sea. So around about sort of late afternoon, early evening, he retired to his cabin, and shortly after that they ran aground onto Endeavour Reef, which is about 5 nautical miles off my starboard side here. And he was able to lighten the vessel, get it off the reef, and take his Endeavour into Cooktown, where they repaired the thing and he was able to continue on his way. But all of that happened in this small area of about 5 nautical miles. Very cool to be passing over that same water. So that's East Hope Island there. We're going to go around the back of that and drop the pick in a coral lagoon apparently. There's one powerboat in there, but other than that we'll be alone. So we're just making our entrance now into the lagoon behind Little Hope Island East, and there's coral everywhere. I guess if you know your way around it's not a big deal, but for me I've got my heart in my mouth at the moment. But there are a couple of public moorings there, so we're going to go and pick one of them up. So we're just about to pick up that mooring at Hope Island East, very close to the beach. Fuck coral. Yeah, we just found some bommies in there. Wow, right in close. Baby, I go this one. So as we approached that mooring, there was a couple of bommies right in close that we nearly hit. So I bore away quickly to starboard, got us a bit of sea room, and we went to another mooring slightly further out in the lagoon. Tan's using hand signals here to guide me on. We use hand signals instead of voice, so that if it's too windy or too rainy or whatever, as long as I can see her, she can guide me onto the mooring. We pick up the mooring, place it on the cleat, and then I go forward just to secure it, and we put on a trip line. Trip line is like a security line, so that if the mooring pops off the cleat in the middle of the night, we won't go anywhere. Also, if we decide to sail off the mooring, we can just let slip the slip line. Who wants to go to the beach?
Let's go.
It's been a big day. Left Low Isles at 6 o'clock or 6:45 this morning, and got here at 3:45 in the afternoon. So pretty long day, good 9 hours. We got a good breeze, you know, 15 to 20 knots there in the last couple of hours, which helped us get here with enough light to see around, and a little bit of time to spend on shore. That bloody outboard is playing up again. I won't say the brand name because I don't want to can it out yet, but I've had the thing for nearly 2.5 years and I've had nothing but trouble with it. So and it was brand new. Constant problems. Maybe it'll get a mention later on in some of the other episodes, but anyway, it's managed to get it going. So here we are, we're just doing a bit of beach combing, checking this out, checking that out. At the moment, low tide is, well, complete, and so the reef is mostly exposed. Ah, some spider conchs. Yeah, nice.
Yeah, it's nice. Cool.
So that's a living spider conch, this one. That's what they look like before they die, before they lose all their ends. Beautiful colour. So we got back to the boat this afternoon after a beautiful walk on Hope Island East. Really pretty. Found a couple of nice shells. The girls had a great time. I had a great time watching them have a great time. Got back to the boat. We needed to charge the battery, so I fired up the generator. Ran for about 40 minutes and then quit. And it overheated. And there's not a lot of things that can cause that. It's got to have raw water that it sucks in. It's got to be pumped through and spat out the other end. So it's been running just fine for quite some time. I didn't think it would be an issue. Anyway, so I went and had a look at the raw water intake, which is not blocked. It seems to be fine. And then after about 40 minutes, 50 minutes, the unit had cooled down enough to start again. So I started it up, looked over the back, and I could see it was spitting out water, although not a lot, not as much as I expected, but it was still spitting out some water. And it ran for probably 30-40 minutes, and then overheated again. So I don't know what's wrong with the generator at the moment. I need it to make water to be able to run the water maker. And we use it to charge the batteries to keep up with our freezer, because our freezer uses a lot of power. So we don't have that. So tonight I'm running the engine to charge the batteries, which I hate to. But I've been on, the only thing I can, so I pulled out some spare parts. I pulled out my spare parts to see if we had a spare impeller, because that was the part that I suspected the most. And I was sure I had one, and I did. I opened up the box, and inside there's a second-hand one that's come off someone else's old engine, and it's missing the lubricant that goes with it. So there's absolutely no way I could change our impeller, even though I suspect strongly that's what it is. So the only thing that I could do is get a new part to run it, and I do need that. So fortunately, in a couple of days' time, we're going to be passing by the Lizard Island resort on Lizard Island, and I contacted them tonight on a Saturday night at nearly 7 o'clock. They answered the phone, talked to a lovely man there, and he was quite happy to let us have a part delivered on one of their 2 flights a day going to Lizard Island. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to Cape Bedford tomorrow, stay the night there, and then the next day we're going to go to Lizard Island, and we'll stay there until I can get a new part delivered. And then once we've got a new part delivered, I'll try and fit it, and hopefully that'll fix the problem, and then we continue on the more remote part of the North Queensland coast with a generator that can make us water along the way. So fingers crossed, next couple of days, but we don't need that generator urgently. I can't think why we would. We'll manage without it. And more importantly, we can get the parts delivered to Cairns, from Cairns to Lizard Island, and that the part I get delivered actually fixes the problem. I heard recently someone said everything on your boat is broken, you just don't know it yet. And I think that's very accurate. There's always something to fix, and there's always something that's failing.